When I first got the Manatee for beta testing, it came with absolutely nothing to help me start out. There was no manual, no cheat sheet, no quick start guide, nothing. Just the machine and a labyrinth of menus. And since my job was to push it to its limits, I've ended up picking many workflow hacks that just made my life easier with it. So in today's tutorial, I'll show you 5 workflow hacks that you won't find in the manuals and will definitely make your experience way smoother with the Manatee. Before we dive into this tutorial, if you like my content and want to support my work, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Things like that helps the channel a lot. And if you're feeling like buying me a coffee, there's a super thanks button for that. Now that said, let's dive into this tutorial. Starting with CPU consumption. Depending on the complexity of the patches, you might drastically reduce the number of available voices on the Manatee and max out its CPU. But luckily, there are several things we can do to optimize the patches for maximum efficiency. Starting with the oscillators. The spectral oscillator uses more CPU than the VA one. So unless you need the functionalities and the sound of the spectral one, always go with the VA engine. Also, if your patch is monophonic, let's say it's a bass patch, always set the synthesizer to mono, so you will optimize the patch for monophonic use. Basically, you will make it more efficient. If you don't need the filter, remember to disable it, just set it to off. If, let's say, you're not using LFO number 1, same thing as with the filter, disable it. There's something interesting about the Manatee. It's always operating in multi-timbral mode. So if you don't need patches 2, 3, and 4, you can always disable them. And you do that by hitting Alt, MIDI, and then you go patch number 2, set the MIDI channel to off. Patch number 3, same thing, MIDI channel off. Patch number 4, patch off. Now, if we go back to the multi-page in here, you can see that patch number 1 is still there, but 2, 3, and 4 are disabled. The Manatee is a super dynamic synth, and if you don't pay attention to your patches gain staging, things might get out of control really fast, especially if your patches are evolving over time, or you're using several patches in multi-timbral mode, where you need things to be balanced volume-wise. Now, luckily, Fred added several gain stage controls throughout the synth that will help us balance things volume-wise. Starting with the oscillator volume, and here we can choose the balance between both oscillators and their volume individually. Next, we can control the overall volume of the patch by hitting play, going to the second page, and here we have overall volume control for the patch. And since the Manatee is a multi-timbral synth, there's a mixer. And if we hit mixer in here, we can control the overall volume of the patch in the mixer. But sometimes this is not enough, and luckily there are 2 things we can still do to boost or control the volume of the Manatee. The first one is the EQ. If we set it to high boost, the control to 0, now the amplitude will actually boost all of the frequencies the Manatee is producing, so it's basically a volume knob. And as a last resort, but this is really for emergency use, the drive knob in here acts as a volume boost if there's no overdrive algorithm engaged. The knobs of the Manatee are way too sensitive, and sometimes, let's say you're changing the pitch of the oscillator and you want to get it back to 0, it's really hard to put it, well, now it's easy, I don't know why, but sometimes it's really hard to set it back to 0. Now, luckily, there's a shortcut for that. If you hit Alt and move the knob, look, it's going to jump into values, and now it's easy to set it back to 0. This next one confused me a lot when I first got the synth, and that is the mix knob of the Overdrive. Essentially, it says -64, 0, let's hit Alt and set it back to 0, see how sensitive the knob is, and 64. I didn't really get the logic behind it, so I called Fred and I was like, what's going on? So he explained to me, -64 is 0, it's only dry signal, and 64 is full overdriven signal, and of course 0 is basically 50% dry signal and 50% wet signal. Let's say the 24 dB per octave low pass filter is not enough for you. You want a 36 dB per octave low pass filter, or you want to create a complex bandpass filter with 24 dB per octave low pass filter and 12 dB high pass filter. That is completely possible in the Manatee thanks to the RC filter. Check this out. Let's create this complex bandpass filter. First of all, let's take the low pass filter. Let's set it to, value of 1 and 14. Let's set it to low pass 24, just like so. Now let's go to the RC filter. Let's set it to high pass, set it to the exact same frequency as the low pass filter. So we said 114, so 114 right in here. Next, we will take off the envelope modulation on the filter. The key tracking also will take it off. And now all we have to do is control both filters at the same time. And this is really easy to achieve using the modulation matrix of the Manatee. We'll just go to the modulation matrix in here. Let's set the source to, let's say, DC 25%. This is a fixed modulation of 25%. Let's set the amount all the way up. Now, the first target is the filter cutoff, just like so. And for the second slot of the modulation matrix, same thing. DC25 amount all the way up, target RC filter, so RC cut. And in the expression control, I'll use the mod wheel or any expression control you want to control both cutoffs at the same time. So let's set it to mod wheel. In here, mod wheel. And we've just created a complex bandpass filter with 24 dB per octave low pass filter, 12 dB per octave high pass filter that we can control using the mod wheel. Now I know I said 5 workflow hacks for the Manatee, but I couldn't help myself and not include this bonus one because this is my favorite tip for the Manatee, and that is unipolar modulations. Now the LFOs of the Manatee are bipolar by definition. There's no unipolar switch for them, but the modulation matrix of the Manatee is super flexible and it allows for unipolar modulations. Check this out. Let's take LFOF. Let's make it modulate the filter cutoff, just like so. Right? Let's give it some modulation amount. Now, let's close the filter cutoff, give it some resonance, take off the envelope modulating the filter cutoff, take off the filter tracking. Let's listen to the VA engine. Turn it on, set the balance all the way to the VA engine, volume all the way up. Now let's go back to the modulation matrix, and now we have unipolar modulation. Check this out. Okay, a bit more speed on the LFO, so now we have this. Right? Now to create this unipolar modulation, we will go to the expression in here and use LFOF as the expression. Basically, the modulator and the expression are the same thing, so LFOF in here. And now we'll get unipolar modulation. Check this out. Close the filter a bit more. Without it, we had this. Those were my 5 workflow hacks for the Manatee, plus a bonus one. If you want to see more content like this, don't forget to leave a comment down in the description. And if you want to grab a unit for yourself while helping the channel at no extra cost, there's an affiliate link down in the description. And with this is the end of this tutorial. I really hope you've liked it. I really hope you've learned something new. See you in the next one.